Hey, welcome back to the Ernest P YouTube channel. I'm Ernest, and today we're going to be answering a viewer question. I just got this question. It was pretty good and well worded, so I'll just read it. It says, "Hey Ernest, I just found your channel while I was trying to find videos on how people started businesses. I'm interested in starting my own mobile mechanic business and was wondering if you had a video explaining how you got started. If not, could you point me in the direction of where to find more information? Thank you." So I don't even know of a video like that. I just kind of did everything as I figured out how to do it. So I told the guy I'd make one. He got back real quick and said specifically he wanted to know like where to start, how to find parts, what insurance does he need, things like that. So um, I'll go through a list of things that you need, I guess, in order to start your business legitimately, and then things that are a good idea to do when you start your business. So first off, we'll start with the things that need to be done legitimately. All right, so I've made a little list here of things that you need to do in order to start your business. So you have to register your business with the state, which means you have to come up with an original name. What I did was I found a name I liked, and I went on the internet and checked to make sure that the website of that name wasn't already taken, and it was. So I just slightly altered the name, and that website was available. Now, the reason I mentioned that is because the business name was available in the state. So I could have just gotten that business name, and whoever owned that website obviously had the business, or it was named differently, or the business was out of state. So I could have gotten that, but I wouldn't have been able to have a website that was the same name as my business. So I slightly altered the name, and that website was available. So I did a little bit of cross-referencing before I registered the business. Then you'll need to go to your state government website and register your business. If you're a startup, I don't think you have to pay anything, and obviously it's going to vary by your state. In my state, I didn't have to pay anything, and there's a couple of options to not pay anything. I started out the business as a sole proprietor, which means you are the business, you own the business, it is you. You end up using a lot of your personal information as the business information, and what that means is you accept all the liability of that business. So if something happened, which I've had a few like kickbacks and stuff, warranty items where I put something on and I've had to replace it. No one's ever gotten upset about that. I've just replaced the parts, and I have, like any business owner would, you just assume those costs. But if something were to happen and I were to get sued, then all the responsibility for that goes back on me if I'm a sole proprietor. So, people could sue me, they could take everything I owned. The reason I did that was because I was a college student and I didn't own anything. So as a sole proprietor, it was low risk for me. I could always just file for bankruptcy if I ever got sued. Once I started getting more assets, like my work vehicles and all my tools and stuff like that, it was a little bit more of a risk to remain a sole proprietor. So I went to Limited Liability Corporation, LLC, which you can do some research on that. LLC means, I don't know exactly how it works, but the liability is assumed when you're an LLC. So somebody knowing that you're a limited liability company, they assume the liability of the work you're doing. So it's almost like it's insured. And then obviously you can always get additional insurance. As a mobile mechanic, that's just up to you, whether you want to go through insurance whenever you're rebuilding a motor because one you put in blew up and you warrantied it, or whatever you want to do, that's up to you. But you can get additional insurance always. I don't. I have switched to LLC because, again, I have more assets, and it would, destroy everything I have at this point to remain sole proprietor if I ever got in trouble. So register the business, then they'll give you your tax ID, your paperwork, you'll fill all that out. As a mobile mechanic in Utah, I didn't have to have like a physical address for my building. If you do, then you'll have to come get inspections and stuff. But other states, I don't know if they're up to date on those types of businesses, but you may have to provide some sort of address to get inspected to run your business and stuff like that. But again, in Utah, I didn't have to get any sort of verification on business address or anything like that because they understood what that being mobile, I would be, in different places. So the best thing to do when you start a business is get all your information on Google as soon as possible. It takes Google, in my case, it took a couple of weeks for it to find my information, my business information. So like when you search my business name and stuff like that, I wouldn't pop up for a few weeks. So once you have everything decided, even before you register your business, you could always go and say, hey, here's my business name, here's my phone number, here's what we do, and just get that on Google. That way it starts coming to the top. The best thing you can do to get up on the top of Google is every time you work on a customer's car, offer a discount or politely ask them to leave you a 5-star review on Google. The more 5-star reviews you get on Google, the more in a shorter amount of time, the higher up you get on the list of searches. So specifically map searches, like when people search for mechanic in my area, there's key terms and stuff that you can list your business under. If you have a lot of good reviews, then you'll be higher up on that list. So on maps now, when people look up my business, I'm one of the top 2 or 3 usually, because I'm pretty persistent in asking people to leave me a 5-star review on Google. And I always word it like that: hey, would you mind leaving me a 5-star review, and not just a good review? And I have a perfect review rating right now. I'm afraid if I would have just said good, one of those persons might have left a 4-star review, and then that, no matter what, brings it down below 5 stars. So I always ask for 5-star review. So that's a good tip. You can get a free or cheap website through sites like Wix and stuff. That's a good place to start to get a website, so you can put your info on a business card, get people the legitimacy of the business. When people click on your website, just go out and take a few pictures of yourself working on your wife's car or whatever, just to get on your business website so people can see who you are, that you know what you're doing, you're a legitimate business, set out your nice tools and stuff, make it look legit. And then just put some information on your website. Get business cards, and then it's not a bad idea to get a phone number either specific to the area or to your business. When I first started, I had a phone number from a different state, so everybody who would call me would be like, are you in my area? Do you do mechanics here? And every single time people were leery about whether I was actually working in their area or not. So I finally just got a separate business phone number for the business that's corresponds to the area where I work. So just little things like that, little details to pay attention to, things that will make your business seem a little more legit and smooth. So that might not be all of them. If you have more questions, leave them in the comments down below, anybody. And then the best thing I ever did when I started my business was running ads. They're expensive. I think the minimum you can do is $10 a day. I do a little bit more than that now. When I started, and Google will give you an offer when you register your business for like a free $100 worth of ads. If they don't, you can call them and ask for it, and they'll give it to you. So do the free ads, and get on all the local Facebook yard sale groups, business groups on Facebook, and just put information out there. Offer deals to people, drum up business, talk about your legitimacy, your honesty, the key factors about your business, and just put those facts out there. And again, it's tough to sit there and say, okay, fine, I'll pay $400 a month, $300 a month for ads. But I found that usually in 1 or 2 jobs in a month, I can make all the money for my ads when they're good jobs. Some jobs are smaller. And so just bite the bullet on the ads, pay for ads, and you'll see, where you would have normally gotten 2 customers a month by word of mouth, and that's hard to live on, you might get 10 customers a month. Be competitive. The best thing I've done for pricing is get on Google, and when somebody says, it's always the same rundown. Somebody will say, hey, I have a Toyota Corolla and I want new brakes, which might not be the best example because brakes are pretty general across the board, the pricing. So let's say I have a Toyota Corolla and I need a new intake manifold. Well, if I don't know off the top of my head, it always goes like this. What's the year, make, and model of the car is the key information to get first. And then I ask them, do you want us to get the parts or do you want to get the parts? And then based off of that, I ask them where they live, because, if they live an hour away, I charge more. If they live an hour away, I charge more than if they lived real close. And so I'll get, what's the year, make, model, what are they doing, and then where's it at? And then I'll go on Google and I'll type in, 2007 Toyota Corolla intake manifold replacement cost. And I always give this as a general number at the beginning, but it will usually come up with a number like it's between $406 or $630 on average. What I usually do is take that $406 and then I take a little bit of percentage off of that. So I'll even send them a picture sometimes. I said, this is usually pretty accurate, but I can get you an exact quote if you get me your VIN number or whatever, if you confirm that you want to go ahead and do this. And that's just a fast way to get a quote. I'll say, it says here the low end is $400, so we'll do it for $385. And so that pretty much always beats any other shop's price. And then the convenience of them not having to wait around or even sometimes tow their car, gets you a lot of jobs. So just make sure you're always just barely, and you don't want to be half the price of other people, because one, you're losing money, and two, you look less legit as a business. And people told me that when I first started, and I was like, no, I'm going to charge them way less. And I seemed to kind of just push business away when I was doing that, because people were like, well, this guy is not legit. He doesn't have a real business. Nobody can work for that little. So charge a fair amount, but beat everybody's price by just a little. And then I'll just make sure I always get VIN numbers if I'm ordering parts. I set up a commercial account with AutoZone or O'Reilly's or whoever, but set up commercial accounts with that tax number you get, and they'll warranty their parts, and depending on how much you buy, they'll even pay you labor if their parts fail. So it's a really good system to go by. I almost always use AutoZone parts. I'll go to the dealership too if people want dealership parts. I'll give them options. If they want something really cheap and they're just really in a pinch for money, then I'll give them options of buying stuff online too. But I'm very specific about saying sometimes parts online don't line up. If you go to Parts Geek or Rock Auto, sometimes parts just don't line up. So I'm always specific about that. Look, there's no warranty on this part. If it's bad, you're going to have to pay more labor. But if it's worth the risk or the gamble to them, then by all means do it. So I really don't source parts offline. I've never had good luck with them. At the beginning I tried to just save people as much money as possible, and I wouldn't even give them that many options, but I just found it's just not worth it. So get somewhere that has a commercial account, O'Reilly's, AutoZone, whatever your favorite is. I like AutoZone. And set up that commercial account, because they'll warranty their parts. They're easy to get a hold of. I'll be an hour away, and guess what? There's an AutoZone 2 minutes down the road. If the part doesn't fit, I can go exchange it. If I buy something online and it doesn't fit, then we're another week out of waiting, and their car's not running or whatever. I've got their car half disassembled, and I've got to put it back together, wait on that part, go back, do all the labor again. So really not worth it. There's AutoZones and O'Reilly's everywhere. Just work with them. Let me see if I got all those. Yeah, so I started, I guess, little by little. I was working somewhere else, I mentioned in another video, and one of the people I was working with said, hey, I know you know a little bit about cars, will you change my brakes? And so in 20 minutes of changing their brakes, I made like as much as I did that whole day working at my other job. And I was like, okay, there's something to this. So I started in my pickup truck. I was just pinching pennies. I was saving up, convinced my wife to let me buy a toolbox that goes in the back of the truck so I could lock my tools up. I had a beginner's toolkit. And then when I needed something, Harbor Freight, I buy a lot of AutoZone tools just for the same reason. There's an AutoZone 5 minutes down the road everywhere I go. But Harbor Freight as well, good tools, lifetime warranty. You don't have to bust the bank to go and get yourself a toolkit. So just started out, saving up. Okay, sometimes it was just I'm doing this job and all I can afford is the tool I need to do this job. But next time, all that money will be profit. So sometimes it was, I was just doing the job to get a tool. But a year down the road, I have all the tools I need, and I can do any job. And business is good. At the beginning, it's slow. You might have a couple of jobs a week, and now running ads and drumming up business, I'll have a couple of jobs a day. It depends on how far you want to drive as well. So right now, I've just pretty much limited myself to within a half hour. Pretty much in my county. But if you want to drive further, you might be able to fill up your weeks a lot sooner. Summer's the busy months. Work hard in the winter, gain people's trust. Because you don't get much jobs in the winter, but when you go out and work on somebody's truck in the middle of their field in the winter, they'll respect you and they'll refer you to a lot of their friends. I've found. So I hope that answers your questions. If you have more, leave them in the comments. I might answer them in the comments. I might make another video if there's a lot of questions. Hope this helps some people out. I did it all, just figuring out piece by piece at the beginning, but it's a good way to ask. Just register yourself with the state. Make sure that you fulfill all the requirements to operate a business, which in my state was, I didn't even have to have a business license because I was mobile. But if you have a physical address, I know you might have to have a business license. And again, it depends on your state. So just check, registered with the business license. Do you need additional insurance, or can you be just an LLC? Do you need certifications as a mechanic in your state? Here you don't. But I could get those certifications either way if I needed them, and you may have to do some studying if you need as well. Depends on your experience level. Then I guess just set up all the business things you might have to pay out of pocket for, a website, a new phone number, business cards, ads, a logo, Even like when you sign up for Wix and stuff, they have logo generators. You can pay a couple bucks if you want an original logo. My sister-in-law is a graphic designer, so luckily I was able to get that. And then bite the bullet and run ads and get your name out there. Talk to people, walk around with your business cards, go to businesses. Don't do anything illegal in some places. It's against city ordinances to leave your business cards on car windows, so make sure you check on things like that. But if it's not a bad thing to do. I always thought about, I have a gauge to measure people's thickness of their brake pads. I always thought about making a special business card on the back. It says, hey, we've noticed you have this issue with your car. Feel free to give us a call and get an awesome quote or something. Have a great day, whatever. And say, I checked your brake pads and they're at 2 millimeters, that it's time to change them or whatever, something like that. Just different ideas you can come up with to generate business. Don't rip people off. Be honest. There's stories of people going and pouring oil out underneath people's cars and then walking up into it and saying, hey, you got a problem with your car. Don't be that guy. Just charge people for what they need, be an honest mechanic, but do the job right. Don't try and pinch everybody's penny by saying, well, this looks like it's going out, but we'll deal with that when it gets to it. If it needs to be replaced, bring it up with them, give them the options. If they want to replace it, perfect. Schedule everything at once and save them a little bit of money in the long run. Then I guess closing remarks, diagnosis is a good way to get new customers. Do offer a cheap diagnosis, enough to get you out there, cover half an hour's worth of work, $40, $60, nice even numbers like that. And then what I'll do sometimes if somebody says, hey, my car won't start, it's making a clicking sound, I'll even get their car information, pick up an alternator, pick up a starter and a battery. You can pick up an alternator too on my way up there to do the diagnosis. And if it's one of those things, then I'll save them the diagnosis fee and I'll just charge them to replace that part. And that builds trust with people. You can go up there, charge them $40 for the diagnosis, come back, get the parts, go put them on, whatever you want to do. But little things like that I've noticed gain trust with people, and that's the thing I've always kind of focused on. So that's the thing I would recommend the most. I've had a great experience in this business by just being honest with people, because I guess people, I don't even guess, people are tired of just getting ripped off by mechanics, and not everybody's bad, but the one who does it ruins it for everybody. So just try and be the one who doesn't do that to people. This video has got long. If you're still here, I congratulate you. Hopefully you have success in your business. I wish you all the best. Leave some comments, like, subscribe. Thanks for watching. This is your NSP YouTube channel. As always, have a good day. Peace out.